From the crossroads of the Ozarks, it's the OGs of podcasting, PID Radio. Welcome, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert, and welcome to our deck. We're outside.
It's a beautiful morning here in the Ozarks.
It's gorgeous. It was in the 60s when I got up at 3 o'clock, and it's still in, probably low 70s?
If that, it is absolutely, it's absolutely gorgeous out here this morning. So we decided, we'll just bring the gear out here, and we'll just share this wonderful morning with you from our deck.
We will indeed. Well, that's the beauty of having such basic equipment.
Yes.
We're not bound to a particular podcast desk, even though we have one in the barn.
Yeah.
And we probably will start doing that again in the barn soon, as you know. And this is just a teaser for the old people report at the end of this. As you know, I've been having surgery on my eyes, cataract surgery, and we'll report that later. But for now, I'm not allowed to lift anything over 8 pounds.
Right. That's like a gallon of milk. So
yeah.
It'll be a while. Oh, you're not supposed to get any dust in your eyes either, which means no dusting. Oh, darn.
And it's kind of frustrating because now I can see it. I can see the wrinkles on my face too. But anyway, that'll be the OG or the old geezer report.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please take a moment and download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet.
Almost need a dead cat.
Yeah.
Starting to get a little breezy out here, but I don't think it's so much that we need to get those. Unless, of course, Glory thinks we do. Glory's all in favor of... you probably need a dead
No,
cat.
we're joking.
We actually like cats. Derek's just allergic to them.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason for downloading it, by the way, that's at gilberthouse.org/app or pidradio.com/app. Of course, pidradio.com is where you'll find all of our archives. But you can get all of those through the app as well, going back to 2005. Yeah. And early on, we did a number of interviews. And so every time we interview a guest, those programs, regardless of where the interview took place, PID Radio, my podcast, A View from the Bunker, Unraveling Revelation, Bible's Greatest Mysteries, they're all tagged. So if you want to find every interview we've ever done with, say, L.A. Marzulli, you can do that very easily in the app. And again, pidradio.com/app or gilberthouse.org/app. The other reason you want to do that is because I keep saying things that get canceled.
Oh, my goodness, got yourself canceled from the Go Therefore conference stream.
Yeah, that's why we weren't here last week. We were in Ohio at the wonderful Go Therefore conference. Dr. Mike Spalding putting that together every year. And Pastor Neil Peterson and his staff at the Harvest Revival Center in Brookville, which is a wonderful rural suburb of Dayton, Ohio. Beautiful facility there, but surrounded by farmland and century homes. It's just a wonderful
Oh, my
setting.
goodness. If you live in the area and you're looking for a church, Harvest Revival Center, great church. And if you live closer to, what do they call it, Lima in Ohio?
Yeah, Lima is
then
where Mike
go to
is.
the Spalding's church.
Right, Calvary Bible Chapel. And Neil, we were exchanging some text messages the other day, and he let me know that if you've signed up for the streaming video and then the video on demand from the Go Therefore conference, it'll be another few days before my presentation is available because I said something that one of the
things
video
thou
platforms,
shalt not say.
That's right.
Ni. We
Yes.
shall say ni to you.
Even though we are now several years past the lockdown, so you cannot say certain things about it was just, in fact, I even talked in code.
I know, and here's the thing, they know the code words, but that's why we want you to download the app, because it's entirely possible something will be said now or who knows when, and we understand we are on a free playground, if you want to.
Yeah.
It's a free opportunity to reach a whole lot of people, yourselves included, and maybe others who just really are interested because we talk about giants or ghosts or werewolves or whatever. We want essentially to have the freedom to preach the gospel.
Right.
That's the main thing we do. Peering into Darkness is about, PID Radio, Peering into Darkness is all about trying to see past the headlines into the spiritual activity beyond it.
Yeah, and my presentation, I was just making a comment about the media, and shouldn't have even gone there because it wasn't even essential to making the point I was making. But I thought, okay, if I talk in code, it'll be fine.
But it's going to be put back there. It'll be re-uploaded.
He's going to cut out that part.
So Neil is brilliant. He will fix it.
Really.
So if you paid for it, then you can still get it video on demand. I don't know. Are they still selling it? Can people still get it?
Oh, yeah.
You need to get it.
Go thereforeconference.com. Dr. Igal German's presentation on the rise of anti-Semitism.
I love him.
He is such a gentle soul, but he's got such a passion for his ministry, which is, defending the Bible. How do we know that we know that we know? What is the evidence for the Bible being true? His personal testimony, he comes from the Galilee, near Nazareth, and he admits that he and his family had been pulled into a cult, but then he found or was led to Yeshua, got a degree at Haifa University, and then got his doctorate at the University of Toronto. He's in Chicago now, living on the far north side, West Rogers Park, where he heads up the Yesod Bible Center. But his other passion, of course, is reaching out with the gospel to Jews, because he is one. And this disturbing rise in anti-Semitism since October 7th of 2023 among Christians is something that I find really, I guess I shouldn't find it surprising, disturbing, yes.
Yes.
Because it shows such a lack of discernment, I think, on the part of many Christians.
But I think what is the surprise about it and the shock about it is that it went from 0 to 60 so fast after October 7th. There was a sympathetic media for a short time period, then suddenly we started seeing a rise of anti-Semitism that was not only in... You trying to protect your little mic, or you just...
Oh, yeah, just, the breeze coming up here. I don't know if it's making it. Yeah.
It is what it is.
We didn't put the dead cats on the mic, so we'll just have to deal with it. Yep.
We could check and see if it's picking it up, because it's going to get a little breezy off. Anyway.
No, I've got a tool to remove it if it gets in there.
What we're saying is that it ramped up so fast, and some of that comes within the church.
Yeah.
And possibly we're talking about the apostasy. We're actually watching it happen. Mm-hmm. And it's a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
You can talk about Bible prophecy all you want, but when it actually is occurring before your eyes, Yeah. But then we're told, look up.
Right, exactly, because redemption is near. There are some who will take it too far and say that any criticism of the government of Israel, any criticism of, say, Benjamin Netanyahu or other members of the government is anti-Semitic, and that's not the case. That is not true at all.
Just read the Old Testament. For goodness sake, the leaders of the Jewish people have never been, perfect.
No. They're
any more than
flawed.
Leaders are perfect.
Exactly. They're like 100% of the rest of the planet. But when you start rationalizing criticism of Israel by saying, well, they're not the real Jews, they're not the biblical Jews, they're Khazarian, or they're whatever, the Rothschilds created the modern state of Israel.
Please, if you're finding videos or things at Substack or whatever, if you're finding things online that make that claim, please look for the evidence. There is historical evidence to the contrary.
Yeah,
There's genetic evidence.
There's genetic evidence, right? There are peer-reviewed studies that show that, first of all, the Ashkenazi Jews are not the majority of Jews in Israel. They're a minority.
No.
They are the Sephardic and the Mizrahi Jews are actually outnumber the Ashkenazis in Israel. Secondly, the Ashkenazi Jews genetically come from the Middle East. And studies show this. So claims to the contrary, especially if somebody uses a phrase like Hebrew DNA, that's not a phrase that any genetic scientists would actually use.
No.
And so you can pretty much ignore somebody who uses that phrase. Mm-hmm. I understand doing this kind of research requires some digging. It requires some looking. Another one that I see a lot, and this is one I just want to bring up, and I don't mean to belittle. I have to watch myself because I start getting passionate and I start coming across as angry, and that makes it more difficult to accept my point. And that's not how I want to be perceived. I get it. When you go online, you see somebody who's making a point, and they have accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Okay. But it doesn't necessarily mean they've followed the evidence through to original sources.
Right.
The claim that the Star of David is actually the Star of Rephan or Remphan that's mentioned in Acts chapter 7, when Stephen is giving his last soliloquy, if you will, his last sermon before he's stoned to death. And he makes reference to the Star of Remphan. And there are those who will claim that that was the six-pointed star that's now called the Star of David. And so this is an occult symbol, and therefore Israel is following an occult religion. The Star of Rephan is actually the planet Saturn. Mm-hmm. This is a reference to Amos chapter 5, where he talks about you picked up the tent of your king, or the tent of Molech, and followed your star god. And in the Old Testament, it's actually Kaiwan. There was the Hebrew characters representing the k and the sound are very similar. So it was mistransliterated into Greek. It's actually Kaiwan, which is a minor Babylonian deity, Kajimanu, represented by the planet Saturn. Nobody has ever found any representation of Kajimanu or Kaiwan or Remphan from the Old Testament.
Yeah, we don't know what it looks like at all.
Yeah, so to say that, well, that's what the Star of David looked like, nobody can make that claim because nobody knows what the star, what the Star of Remphan looked like is that little dot in the sky that represents the planet Saturn.
Right.
So, again, if anyone tries to make that claim, they're misinformed. And I know that you can find images on the internet that make that claim, but they're not going back to the 8th century BC when the prophet Amos was writing.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, and as you say, well-intended believers or non-believers who really are trying to... Look, you and I, everybody has their first moment of discovering the mainstream media have lied to you.
Yeah.
And then you start to go down this little rabbit hole and that little rabbit hole. And many, many people go down either the wrong rabbit hole or they just go down very shallow rabbit holes. Derek and I, and we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, we are still learning, but we love going down deep into the rabbit hole, really, and finding all of the huge warren that it's connected to. We want to follow all of the little threads, mixing my metaphors, because we're wired that way. We love learning, and we want the truth.
Yeah.
So if you are studying this and you're new to this, then please, we just ask that you try to dig deeper.
Yeah, and the other, I think, error that a lot of us can be drawn into, and I've done this myself politically, where I was in the 90s, I remember 30 years ago, arguing with my dad that Bill Clinton was the victim of a vast right-wing conspiracy, which is the phrase coined by Hillary.
Hillary, who may be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Finally.
And my dad just kind of shook his head, and then after the blue dress came out, suddenly I realized Clinton looked into the camera and he lied to America. So then I went the total other direction and argued after 2001 that, yeah, we needed to invade Iraq because Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. And so I finally settled in the middle. It's like, wait a minute, that was a lie too. If you... When your eyes are open, and suddenly it's very tempting to believe that everything you've been taught is a lie.
Yeah.
And that's not true either. So there are two ways of really being drawn into error. One is to believe everything, for example, that the media broadcasts. The other is to believe nothing that the media broadcasts, because the truth is actually in the middle, and you really have to exercise a lot of discernment and research to try to figure it out.
Well, let's start looking at the news then, because that's what we do.
Yep.
We and Derek and I, we like to go beyond the headline or beyond the meme poster. One thing that we are seeing, not only the anti-Semitism rise up, but also Western nations that historically stood up to Islam, capitulating by saying, essentially, the Ottoman Empire could not break into Western Europe. But the modern version of that, the modern Islamic jihad, is taking over Western Europe without firing a shot. They're being helped in. They're literally being picked up from the channel and helped in and put into nice hotels, fed and clothed and given free health care. And no, don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything.
Yep.
And defended in the news. If someone were to say, well, can you tell us about grooming gangs? You get a mayor who says over and over, can you explain what you mean by that question? I don't understand the question.
Talking about London Mayor Sadiq Khan, who played dumb.
All we want is a yes or no answer. Can you, or do we have them? I don't understand the question.
Yeah. I think if you're listening to us and you're in the UK, you know that the Rotherham case is in the news there. We in the United States have not heard enough about this, but we've been paying attention. We pay a lot of attention to what happens in the UK because that's where our ancestors are from. And
it's a bellwether for what's about to happen here.
It truly is. Sadiq Khan is, I think, an indicator of a leading indicator. We may see something similar to Khan with Zohran Mamdani, who's the Democratic nominee for New York City mayor in the upcoming election. And according to polling, he looks like he may well win that election. He is of Indian birth, but he is his father's a Muslim. Was raised in Uganda because they immigrated there from India for work. His parents did. And he's been in the United States now, and he's been openly supportive of the of Hamas and PIJ and PFLP, all of the Palestinian Arab movements in Israel. But what's going on in the UK with these groups that have entered the country are being protected by the establishment there.
I just like Grace outside.
And a story this past week that was rather startling was that on a job board run by the UK government, they were advertising for a Sharia law coordinator in Manchester.
Yeah, was it actually the UK government or was it the Manchester County Council?
Well, the board was run by the job board was run by the UK government. I don't think it was the government that was. It's not a taxpayer-funded position.
But it wasn't local. It was actually the UK government, not Manchester Council. And I'm asking because we're seeing, if you really follow the news over there, you'll see that a lot of the major manufacturing cities like Manchester and York and Liverpool and big areas, they are converting the councils to become predominantly Muslim.
Right. The job was with a private employer. Local mosque raised the money to fund the position from donations. It's just the job board was a government job board. You could advertise for the
job
position.
center kind of thing.
Exactly. So it was, Sharia law administrator. The job listing was pulled after pushback, but there is a Sharia council in Manchester. I mean, you can find their website, mcrshariacouncil.co.uk. There are 85 Sharia law courts in the United Kingdom.
And I think that we have some here in the United States, because you and I talked about it on PID radio, oh gosh, maybe 10, 12, 13 years ago. It's been a while.
Looking that up right now as we speak. There are...
And if there are not, there will be.
Arbitration tribunals. Yeah, officially there are no Sharia law courts in the United States, as there is in the UK. 85 in the UK. Now, bear in mind, the population of the United Kingdom is about 1/6 that of the U.S. But they do have religious arbitration tribunals. Okay. It is coming here, though. Mm-hmm. And as you say, that governments that had traditionally stood up to invasion by the forces of Islam, France, Spain earlier this year, and Spain, that one really shocked me, because you would think that they would remember that for 700 years, most of Spain, except for the region in the north, there was a kingdom called Asturias that never submitted, and that actually the Reconquista, which pushed the Muslims out, began in Asturias. Mm-hmm. But for 700 years, most of Spain was ruled by Muslims.
It's one reason you have so many beautiful old buildings, historic buildings like the Alhambra, that look more Moorish than they do Spanish.
Right. Spain was originally, well, I said not originally, I think there were Celts there originally, but the Visigoths moved in and set up a kingdom toward the end of the Western Roman Empire, 4th or 5th century. But the Visigoths were overrun in the early 8th century. And the armies of Islam, Arab armies that had crossed the Straits of Gibraltar, conquered most of Spain. They were crossing into France, and it was at the Battle of Tours in 732 where Charles Martel, turned them back. Graces out of the typical retriever behavior. They have no problem just lying on their backs, with their least no shame whatsoever. Oh, she's out there in the yard,
she's looking pretty happy,
enjoying the sun out there, and just Grace is black with just a blaze of white in her front. So when it gets really sunny and hot, she gets overheated pretty quickly. I think she's really enjoying the low 70s temperature out there.
She is.
Oh, this is great.
Why can't we have more of this? Oh. She does love the snow.
And Mr. Jack just mowed the lawn the other day. This is so nice.
I think Martel definitely made a difference, and had it not been for him, and also for Jan Sobieski.
In 1682.
At the Battle of Vienna.
Right.
There were a lot of great warriors that I believe the Lord raised up, whether they followed him or not, to stop that invasion, because the Lord was preserving certain nations for him. It doesn't mean that they were perfect nations.
Right.
They're not. There is no perfect nation on this earth.
There is not, but God has his own plan, and he works through imperfect men and women to achieve his ends. So, the French have said they will recognize Palestine as an independent country at the upcoming
put the umbrella down.
General Assembly meeting of the UN in September. The UK, Sir Keir Starmer, has made the same announcement. Now Mark Carney of Canada, the Prime Minister there, has said that the Canadians will recognize Palestine in September as well. And it is just astonishing to me that in nations where, the UK never really fought the invading armies of the Muslims, even though
Lori!
There were Muslim
Sorry about
pirates.
That. She was digging a big hole, and I prefer
chasing after a bug.
I appreciate that you're going after voles and things, but how about if we all go inside? We'll stay out here, but we're going to send the girls inside.
Yeah.
Okay. Go lie down.
So, Canada, the UK didn't directly fight Muslims, although there were Muslim pirates that set up a base on an island just your phone's on that chair over there.
Oh, thanks for reading my mind. I lost it.
There were Muslims who set up a pirate base basically on an island off the tip of Cornwall in the 17th century, and we're still using it to raid into England. But Europe in general was victimized by Islam from the 8th century onward. There are scholars who believe that the Viking phenomenon that began in the 9th century was a response by enterprising Scandinavians to meet the demand for European slaves,
blonde, blue-eyed,
especially blonde, blue-eyed ladies, at the slave markets in Islamic nations. A professor at Ohio State, I cited this in my book Bad Moon Rising, wrote, based on his research, that between the time of Henry VIII, 1530, and the time of George III, who was king during the American Revolution, 1780, so that 250-year period, he estimated that 1 million Europeans were enslaved. 1 million Europeans were enslaved by Muslims. We weren't taught that in history class in school.
No, not generally.
We're taught that slavery is it's Americans taking Africans by force. But
no, it goes all over the world.
It goes back to ancient Sumer.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, there were Arabs taking slaves out of Africa.
And
there were Africans taking slaves out of Africa.
Yes, and slavery continues among the Muslim world to this day. But again, that's something we're not supposed to talk about. But you would think that European nations with any sense of history at all, having been victimized by the forces of Islam since the time of Muhammad and just after, would say, maybe allowing millions of people with no desire to assimilate into our countries is a bad idea. But not only are they doing that, they're taking it a step further and saying, hey, let's reward Hamas for killing 1,200 Israelis and enslaving another 250 and give them their own nation.
Well, let me do a slight left turn here. Guterres, who is the head of the UN, has made a speech a couple of days ago essentially saying, we really should run things because you guys are terrible. And it had to do, I think, with the whole Middle East situation. And they don't like Trump at all. Please, Trump, just kick the UN out of the United States.
Yes.
But connected to that, forget Guterres. He's the red herring. The real problem in the room is that the international health regulations were amended by something like over 300 amendments that were ratified and are now part of the treaty. They're part of the health regulations document. They were grandfathered in or they were brought in simply by majority vote. Majority of one got the vote. And it means that the next pandemic will be under the aegis, the control, and the direction of the World Health Organization. And whatever individuals make the big decisions that are announced by the WHO. Well, one of those amendments discussed other demics, as in an infodemic,
right.
When social media goes to the place where it becomes a danger. That was one of the things that Guterres talked about in his speech, that maybe the UN should be overseeing social media for the world, because we clearly can't handle it.
Right. Well, the UN and the World Health Organization are going to in a power struggle to see who gets to rule the world, apparently.
Well, I think that may be coming up, and it'll be interesting because, look, right now we have freedom, theoretically, to say what we want. One of the things Derek and I love about the X app, that social media organization, is that it's a variety of opinions.
Yeah.
You get left, right, and middle. But many other social media platforms give you left or right.
Right.
You should be able to say anything. Look, just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean that you're not allowed to say it. As long as you're not threatening my life or threatening to do me harm or my family harm, then okay.
Yeah, libel, slander.
I mean, there are certain things that should and are illegal, but if you like the wrong post, if you have an opinion about what we were just saying about historically speaking, these things happened. We have to watch for, oh no, that's hate speech.
Yeah.
That's coming. Those freedoms are about to die on the vine. And see what I did there? Vine. Vine's coming back, by the way. Right now, when Trump met in Scotland with Keir Starmer, he asked Starmer point blank about the UK having free speech. And Starmer said, we're very proud about our history of allowing free speech.
Oh, yeah.
That's not true at all.
Ask Lucy Connolly about
historical, that. But yeah, exactly. Ask the older gentleman who died in jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for tweeting something posting something to social media that wasn't wasn't
allowed. The approved message will be the only thing you can say.
Right.
That's coming very quickly.
Well, and again, it's already in part here, which is why, again, my presentation is not online just yet, or not available for the
Derek, you're
for
such
download
a
just
troublemaker.
Yet. I know.
My phone's getting warm sitting over
violating
here
social media's.
I'm actually getting some vitamin D worms in it.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. Well, we need to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about. Let's see, mad scientist on an abandoned aircraft carrier planning to block out the sun.
Oh, and just a paper that appears to have mad science in it, but it comes from Harvard.
And also radioactive wasps.
Everything
oh my goodness!
Right there.
Yeah, definitely. Look up. Things are about to hit the fan, and more PID radio straight ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can support the ministry of Skywatch TV and our continued efforts to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the four corners of the world and receive your very own copy of this incredible masterpiece when you order the Gates of Hell Ultimate Collection. Not only does this incredible special offer include Derek and Sharon Gilbert's new book, The Gates of Hell, Unlocking the Ganymede Code and the Demonic Portals of Mount Hermon and the United States Capitol, but it also includes the best-selling books Veneration, Unveiling the Ancient Realms of Demonic Kings and Satan's Battle Plan for Armageddon, and The Second Coming of Saturn, The Great Conjunction, America's Temple, and the Return of the Watchers by Derek and Sharon Gilbert. Veneration uncovers how the ancient giants known as the Rephaim influenced biblical beliefs, leading to the corruption of God's people and their eventual return to fight at Armageddon alongside the Antichrist. The Second Coming of Saturn reveals a dark prophecy with the 2020 conjunction marking the return of the ancient god whose reign will bring a hellish golden age as foretold in occult symbols and Bible prophecy. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $60. Yours now for your donation of only $40, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can support the ministry of Skywatch TV and help us continue spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Gates of Hell Ultimate Collection now.
Welcome back to PID Radio. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and Grace and Gloria are out here with us, and sadly they will not get to go to Israel with us, but you can.
Absolutely. We are still looking for to fill a few seats on the bus. Mm-hmm. This will be a smaller tour than we've had in the past, but we will be there in Israel from October 19th through 30th of 2025.
We've got room for maybe another 8 people.
About that, yeah. It is. There's still time to sign up and join us on what will be more of an adventure than a touristy thing. We will go places most tours don't. We're going to go to Israel's Stonehenge, Gilgal Rephaim, and a sister location on the Jordan River, overlooking the Jordan River, and we will explain why we believe that's where Jesus was baptized. Mm-hmm. We will also show you the red heifers at Shiloh.
At Shiloh. I love that. We're going to take you to what Zev Porat has taught us is probably the real location of the crucifixion and the real tomb, where you can get over 100 people in there
exactly.
and sing hymns.
Yes, it is wonderful. We'll get up on the Temple Mount. We've been there 3 times now, so I don't expect any issues with that again this time. Of course, the Mount of Olives, the Old City, We'll go to Joshua's altar. That's the plan anyway. That's always a little dicey because the IDF has to coordinate. But at the very least, if we can't get there, we will go to the other location across the valley, the Oak-of-Moreh, where God appeared to Abraham and said, "This land will belong to your descendants."
It's an amazing location.
Yeah. So it is essentially a rolling tour across,
rolling
conference across Israel, because we'll be teaching in all these sites. The tour guides of Lipkin Tours are absolutely the best in Israel. And as we have learned things since our first trip there back in 2018, well, I mean, a lot of the point of our book, The Gates of Hell, at least the historical part of the book, is that the geography of Israel is key to understanding the spiritual war. And so we will explain all of that in Israel on the ground, showing you these key battleground sites. And you can find out more and reserve your seat on the bus at gilberthouse.org/travel.
By the way, if you have already signed up, thank you for doing so. And please remember to go to the Israel site for getting your visa in advance. It's called an ETA, and it's a travel authorization, electronic maybe?
I think so, yeah.
It's the equivalent to $7.50 US. It's 25 shekels.
Yeah. It's very easy to do. We went through the process. They got us an answer very quickly.
Within a day.
I thought the answer was delayed. It's just that
it gone into the spam folder.
Yes, yeah. So anyway.
Check your spam folder if you don't get it in a couple of days. Lynn is going, Lynn Shepard. She's a good friend of ours, and she's been on a couple of other tours with us in the past. She is anxious to go. She got hers within a day. So please make sure you get that, because it's not like it used to be. October 7 did change a few things, so now Israel just wants to know in advance who's coming in, and they prefer you not wait till you get there. So now you have to show your ETA that has been approved at the time you board the plane. Right.
Yeah. Essentially, it's just a visa that you have to get your visa in advance.
In advance.
Yeah. So that you're not there in Tel Aviv and they're having to check you out on the ground there.
You're just saying you're going there for tourism. Yep. I mean, it's pretty easy to get in. So,
we got a curious carpenter bee wandering around, buzzing around here. Okay.
Nicole and I always called them little black butt bees.
Yeah, they look like bumblebees, about the same size, but they're black. Their bodies are black.
They're sweet. Yeah. They're friendly little bees.
Yeah. Well, the paper from Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb says that there's an incoming, which has led to all sorts of clickbait headlines at the red tops.
I know. Well, if you actually read the paper, and we can link to that if you want to take the time to read it. I love to read scientific papers. It's a suggestion in the paper based on the data that the movement of the interstellar object, this is the third interstellar object that has been located by the Atlas Project.
Right.
And that's why it's called 3I Atlas.
Yeah, it looks like 31, but no, it's 3I.
3I Atlas. In the paper, Loeb et al. Suggest that the data seems to make it look as if this is an artificial object. Remember Oumuamua? Mm-hmm. That was the first one?
Yeah.
And it moved in a way that appeared to be artificial. Well, we didn't get invaded. But the question is this natural or unnatural? And the paper, again, it's a very tiny, tiny suggestion. And then he says this is what gets the clickbait headlines. Mm-hmm. If it is artificial, either this is a probe that is sent because they're friendly and they want to say hi, or it's a probe and they're unfriendly and they want to see what our defenses are like.
It's like that scene in Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, where Mel Gibson's son in the film was saying, well, two possibilities. Either they're friendly or they're hostile. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
And the writer here suggests that they're probably friendly. Well, if you have never seen Signs, the film, we love that movie. It's one of the few perfect movies as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, can't change a scene.
And there are lots of hints that Shyamalan puts in there that reveal the hand of God.
Yes, yeah. And don't know if he meant to do it overtly or not, but it's pretty clear when you go back and watch. Mel Gibson plays an Episcopal priest who loses his faith after the death of his wife. Mm-hmm. But it's clear by the end of the film that, first of all, these are not aliens. They're malevolent entities. They're inhuman, but they're not extraterrestrial.
But spoiler alert, close your ears if you don't want to hear this part. All of the things that have happened in his life, including those things that he considered life-changing in a negative way,
right,
were all there to save them at the end.
Right, things God's for which he had cursed God.
Exactly. Yep. God's plan, as he looks back, he sees all of it. It's wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah. Well, as you say, Loeb, in the paper, poses a thought experiment that the comet, which he admits in the paper, is almost certainly a natural. Yeah, it's a comet.
Exactly.
But he poses as the thought experiment. It could be alien technology and possibly hostile. And of course, that's what a lot of the media has picked up on. So the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror, the Sun, the Star,
because the rest of it is just a lot of data and science talk.
Right.
You don't lead with that.
No, that's boring. That means we have to think. But
Harvard professors publish boring paper.
Yep. Loeb is very much a believer in the existence of extraterrestrial life. So he is, in fact, he's got a book called Extraterrestrials. So if this paper, which by the way is not peer-reviewed, it is a preprint.
And I've seen people claim it is peer-reviewed. It is not.
No. If it directs people to get his book Extraterrestrial, then as far as he's concerned, great.
Winning.
Yeah. If you are looking for a Christian perspective on the UFO or UAP, as they're now called, phenomenon, may we humbly suggest the book I co-authored with Donna Howell and Allie Anderson, Destination Earth.
Absolutely.
In fact, if you just want to read the sections that I wrote, you can find those at our Substack account for free. Gilberthouse.substack.com. You'll have to go back a couple of months.
Right. We wouldn't put the ones that Donna and Allie wrote because we don't have their permission to put those at Substack.
Right.
But we try to put as much stuff from our books as possible for free. It's what Tom Horn did.
Exactly. Right now we're going through Giants, Gods, and Dragons. Just finished putting up, it's probably 95% of the Second Coming of Saturn is out there on the web for free now. Again, Tom Horn used to do this, and so we feel, okay, well, that's it. You get the information out there. And if you want a copy, great. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them at Skywatch TV store. If you go to our bookstore, gilberthouse.org/store, there are links there where you can find our books. It just directs you to the Amazon. But we've also got, the Amazon. They're sent all the way from the Amazon. But there's also a section, specials. And if you go in there, that directs you to the Skywatch TV store where you can get a deal on our books along with other products for a reduced price and free shipping in the U.S.
Yeah, and let me just make this point. Derek and I have said this many times on our programs and on others. Paper books last, but also they're apocalypse proof for the most part. If the internet goes down and you can't get to your Kindle library or you can't charge your device, so there's no whatever, you can still read a paper book.
Yeah.
So having a library of printed material that can help someone, let's say you're no longer here, and the world's gone to hell in a handbasket, if you want to say it that way. Derek and I believe in putting in water and food and books, things that will edify and preach the gospel after you're gone.
Right. We've got lots and lots of books. In fact, we probably need to...
We need to divest ourselves of some books. In fact, I will say this. If you live in this area, at some point after I'm allowed to lift more than 8 pounds, I am going to continue the decluttering and downsizing project that I started earlier this year. And probably we will have a yard sale of some kind.
That will be that'll be good. There are a lot of books here that we've got multiple copies of.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be crazy cheap prices because we really want to just
declutter and
put them in the hands of someone who will read them and or it gives them away.
Absolutely. But, again, if your budget is tight, that's why we're putting things out on our Substack account 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, new articles going out. Plus, the rest of the week, we got links to our programs. And, Glory's getting ready to do Zoomies out there in the yard.
Oh, love that.
Well, speaking of science, bottom line is with the Comet 3I Atlas, it is not an alien craft. It is not it is not Independence Day.
But let me just put this in there. It's huge. It's 22 kilometers big.
Yeah.
It's big, and it's moving very, very fast.
Yeah. And because it is passing by 3 planets, Jupiter, Venus, and Mars, fairly closely,
it will probably have its path changed.
Yeah, the odds of that happening by accident are like 1 in 2,000, which is not, astronomical odds. See what I did there? Astronomical.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very good.
But not impossible either. So, I
think you can hear the locusts.
Yeah, starting to heat up a little bit.
Locusts that start up every August. They're right on time.
Yep. It is a canard, a false belief that if this or some other craft were to turn out to be alien, that it would completely destroy the basis for the Christian faith and the Jewish faith by disproving the Bible. As Mike Heiser, the late Mike Heiser, pointed out, a proper understanding of Genesis 1, where God says, let us create man in our image, doesn't mean that God looks like a human. No. He's not an anthropoid biped. It means we are God's image bearers. We bear his, we are his moral agents on earth. He has delegated to us the responsibility for carrying out his will on earth. And that's what that means. So if an actual alien craft were to land in front of the UN building, okay, we're still God's moral agents on earth. We are still his imagers, his image bearers.
Yeah. Do Derek and I think that there are legit aliens? Nah.
No.
Probably not.
No. The odds against an alien life form crossing the space between stars is so infinitesimal that if it were possible, I think God would have warned us about this. That's a point that Guy Malone has made in his presentations. Guy, our missionary to Roswell. But anyway, that's the thing. Just take all the stories about 3I Atlas as clickbait. Yes, Earth has been visited by inhuman entities since the garden and before.
But let me say, I think 2025 is going to, before it's over, we're going to see something interesting happen. I'm not speaking that because the Lord's given me a word of knowledge. I'm just saying there are so many things that point to that possibility. So just keep an eye up because I think the Lord is coming back very soon.
I think you're right. Now, again, speaking of strange science, this almost like weird science, the rogue science, if you will.
You're all singing that song now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Weird science. You want to go back inside?
Yeah. Girls been out there running around in the yard. Now it's time to go inside, get some water, and cool off. Last year, a group of billionaires behind something called the Pritzker Innovation Fund. That is the Pritzker of the Pritzker family, the Hyatt fortune, Hyatt Hotel fortune. J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, is one of those. Jennifer Pritzker, who's his cousin, is behind the Pritzker Innovation Fund. They met on an abandoned aircraft carrier off the coast of Alameda, California, to plan how to block out the sun to save us from global warming. The idea was to alter the clouds to reflect more of the sun's rays back into space, thus stopping climate change. And a fellow by the name of Luke Eisman founded a company funded in part by the Pritzker Innovation Fund called Make Sunsets they started launching weather balloons to release sulfur into the atmosphere. Now, we were talking yesterday as we were driving back from Springfield. You said, why don't we ever hear about acid rain anymore? Mm-hmm. It's because they want to put more sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight into space.
Look, there's always something. Killer bees coming at you, killer wasps coming at you, radioactive wasps coming at you, global change, global heat, global cooling. We even had nuclear winter that everybody was warning. And by the way, speaking of nuclear, did you see that Trump has ordered the positioning of 2 nuclear subs off the coast of Russia?
Yeah.
That's the assumption.
Yeah, Dmitry Medvedev was making some very...
He was going on and on about, we've got nukes,
provocative statements. Yeah, and I think the response that Trump is sending is like, look, we don't want war with you, but hey, knock it off with the nuclear war talk, okay?
Can I suggest that Trump has seen the BBC special about a NATO meeting that was pulled as soon as the Ukraine war started? The very next day that it started, it was pulled. You and I watched it on BBC Select.
Yeah.
And it was a mock, and by this we don't mean mocking it, but it was a mock NATO meeting with former NATO and governmental heads. Mm-hmm. They knew what they were talking about, given a scenario where Russia starts war in the Baltic and they actually fire upon a U.S. ship with a nuclear device. Mm-hmm. Very tactical, so it's low yield, but what do?
Yeah.
The decision was nothing.
Yeah, which is kind of the response that most Western leaders have regarding
Glory's at the door.
Most anything these days.
Mom.
Yeah.
I got coon squirrel, Mom. Come on in.
Trump, I think, is an anomaly among Western leaders in that he's actually saying, no, the response will not be nothing. The response will be a lot more intense than you could possibly imagine.
I'm going to, I will see your nuke and raise you another one.
Yeah, and this one won't be tactical. This will be strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's pray that cooler heads prevail and that this doesn't turn out to be something more. I mean, Medvedev is like Putin's attack dog, his junkyard dog, and he does kind of shoot off his mouth, but
that way
the Russians
Putin can say, I didn't say it. I can't control him.
But the Russians have been pretty clear about their stance on a number of things, like don't bring NATO up to our borders. Don't bring NATO up to our border. And when we finally brought NATO up to his borders, like, okay. Mm-hmm. And that's when Ukraine got invaded.
Yeah.
Ukraine, bear in mind, was the route that the Nazis took, and is also that in World War II to invade Russia. It's also the route that Napoleon took back in the 19th century to invade Russia. Went through Ukraine.
To get to the spirits behind all this, is it possible, you and I talk about this all the time, so this is, again, a thought problem, but I think it's one based on what we're observing. Is it possible that the fallen realm are playing a massive game of risk with human beings?
Well,
we're the tokens.
Yeah, the little blocks of wood or plastic now on the risk board. Yeah, I've speculated on this. In fact, I think I wrote this into Bad Moon Rising as well. But on the Iron and Myth Roundtable discussion a couple of years ago, one of the first programs that I did with Judd Burden, Doug Van Dorn, Brian Godawa was on civil war amongst the fallen. And we talked about this on Unraveling Revelation as well, speculating that given that there's biblical evidence for spiritual, territorial spirits rather, like the angel or the Prince of Persia, who's clearly not human because he delays the angel delivering the message to Daniel for 21 days.
Prince of Greece.
The Prince of Greece, right. Do they move with people groups, And I think we may do another discussion on this on Iron and Myth, Traveling Gods. In fact, that's sort of a premise of a novel written by Neil Gaiman that was turned into a television series on AMC called American Gods. Don't recommend you watch it. It's very violent. It's not really anything edifying.
Nihilistic.
But from a theological standpoint, it raises one interesting question. Again, do gods, small g gods, move with the people who worship them? And do they then get involved in turf wars?
I think when the Lord said, you will see nation against nation, ethnos against ethnos,
right,
tribe against tribe, is essentially what he was saying there. I think it was more than the humans involved.
Sure.
Because much of what he told us is coming can be interpreted as the consequence of spiritual warfare.
Yeah. I think we see hints of that even more than hints of that, really, in Revelation
6.
18.
6, it's obvious. Those aren't humans on those horses.
Well, no. But what I'm saying is that they're fighting with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Where the woman in the Scarlet Woman, who we believe is Inanna or Ishtar, Aphrodite, got many names throughout history, who rides the beast, but then is eventually betrayed and taken down by the 10 kings and the beast. And those kings are not human kings either. Those are spirit beings who then turn on her and destroy her. The other question we've speculated on is when Apollyon, Abaddon, the destroyer, emerges from the abyss, does he go to war for Satan and the Antichrist, or does he war against them? Because he's only got 5 months.
Well, that is a really good question, and it's entirely possible that this is the king over those who are in the abyss. You've written about this in a number of ways. The
Second Coming of Saturn.
Second Coming of Saturn, thank you very much. But the Mount of Olives is also called the Mount of Corruption, but the actual word there means Mount of the Destroyer.
Yes, Mount of Olives, yes, the Hot Mashketh, which I think is why Jesus spent so much time there during the last week of his life. It split his time between that mountain and then going across the valley to the Temple Mountain.
His entire ministry was spiritual warfare.
Yes, from the very beginning. And this is all going to be in the forthcoming book, War of the Watchers. Again, dealing with geography and the war, both in the physical realm, since the Zionist movement began to return to the land in the late 19th century, but in the spirit realm, going all the way back to the time of Abraham. I'm working on the chapter now of why God destroyed Sodom.
Well, you and I are going to be talking about this on the tour at the sites where these things took place. Right.
The one thing I wish, and again, the political situation over there right now is such that it's just wiser not to try to cross over into Jordan, but going over to Jordan to be able to see that site of Sodom, which is visible from Mount Nebo, is really something.
Thank you, Bruce.
Just looking off on the horizon over there, there's something burning out that way.
Well,
Could
we
be
had
a burn
little
pile.
bit of rain, so it's possible it's a good time to burn.
Yeah,
but,
here in the Ozarks, burn piles are still a thing. Anyway.
It would be interesting if we go to the Mount of the Oak of Moreh, where Abraham could see all of the areas that were promised to him.
Yes.
And it's possible that from there, Lot looked over and saw a well-watered plain. Who knows? But there was some high point where they were able to... Oh, that's right.
It was at Bethel.
That's right. That is right. You know, that's a fascinating site as well.
It is, because that's very close to Ramallah, which is... It's near that site, that town of Taibe, which is where the story was put out there, coming back to the way the media reports on what happens in Israel.
Yeah, I know, by the way, Ramallah looks like a modern city.
It really does. It looks
all sorts of stuff.
Looks very wealthy. Taibe is the site of what we were told at first was a church that had been burned. It turned out, and the way the story was presented, it was like a Christian church had been torched by what they call the Hilltop Youth, which are Israelis who are more aggressive toward their Arab neighbors than really should be, than is allowed by law, but they're not being prosecuted. And for this, the Israeli government really needs to be held accountable.
They do, but they weren't responsible.
They weren't responsible.
At this point. Nor was it.
Was it a church that was burned? They were talking about the remains of a 6th century Byzantine church, which are ruins. It's an archaeological site. The church wasn't even burned. There was a brush fire next to the church. And as it turns out, Israelis were out there fighting the fire because the fire in that particular stretch of grassland bordered on some Israeli-owned or olive groves. So anyway, but it is a spiritual fight that goes back to the time of Abraham and before, and that's what this whole supernatural war is about.
And if you find it interesting, like I said, we are going to talk about this while we're there. We'll try to do some filming. We'll see if we have the ability to do that, because we're older now. So we may try to draft a younger person in the group and say, can you hold Sharon's phone or can you do this? But anyway, we will definitely be talking on the bus and afterward if we've got the energy and you guys want to go into a small room at a hotel and maybe hear a few more things. We'll do that.
Yeah.
And the food is great.
The food is great. You will, at the end of a couple of weeks, you will feel better. You absolutely, and you'll be sleeping better too. So, before we get to the OG report, one final story because we teased it before the break. It's the radioactive wasps.
Well,
I mean, as if wasps, where you don't want them, aren't bad enough. The fact is that workers at a site in South Carolina, a plant where parts were once made for nuclear weapons, they found a wasp nest there, and I don't know why they decided to run a Geiger counter across the nest, but they found out the nest is hot. It is radioactive.
You know, it reminds me of, the Ukrainian...
Chernobyl.
Yeah, Chernobyl. Thank you very much. When a decade or so later, scientists went in and surveyed the local ecosystem, they found animals that had managed to survive, and they were radioactive.
Yeah.
But they somehow survived it.
Life finds a way.
Went on.
Yeah. The good news is they were able to dispose of the nest. The radiation level of the nest was 10 times higher than what's allowed by federal regulations, but they were able to spray it with insect killer and dispose of it as radioactive waste. Here's the thing, though. They didn't find any wasps. So apparently the wasps have already dispersed and maybe creating
radioactive wasps.
Yeah. This was at the Savannah River site at Aiken, South Carolina. So the headline there is one of those things that you see that and go, yeah, but at least they're not radioactive murder hornets. That would be the worst.
That would be bad. Well, you never know what the future is going to hold. And, of course, when you're getting serious, Revelation chapter 6 shows that Thanatos, who is death himself, riding a very sickly-looking horse, one that implies all sorts of demics.
Yeah.
that he's going to be killing with death itself, but also with animals, small and large.
Yeah.
So who knows? Could be all sorts of things that are roaming around, including biological agents.
A wasp-epidemic.
Ooh.
Vespidemic. Yeah.
Best for forms.
Yeah. Well, good news on Sharon's eyes.
Oh, yeah. OG report, the old geezer report begins. I had my cataract surgery on the 17th on my left eye. Well, the 31st was my right eye, so 2 days ago. And I had my one-day post-op yesterday, and they said I'm textbook. It's just everything looks great. And all of the things that I expected to experience did, but they're little dragonfly. Expected to experience, but see?
Oh, yeah.
But not radioactive dragonfly, though. But they're very minor. Seriously, I've had very little pain other than that first day, and I thank the Lord for it. I have said before that the lenses we chose, the Lord had given us a little bit of extra money, so we put it towards the ability to see at multiple distances and to correct my astigmatism. And so we were able to get the toric panoptics lenses, and if those of you who have them, you know what I'm talking about. So my left eye is just about back to where it ought to be, or it is where it never was.
Yeah.
Because I've always had astigmatism, and I've always had bad vision in both eyes at either near or far. So I'm able to see out of that left eye, can see small print. It's amazing. I don't need glasses to read anymore at all. And soon in fact, I think I could probably drive today. And it would be perfectly fine. Just need to wear my hat and my sunglasses.
That's a really
thank you,
wonderful
Jesus.
thing.
Thank you for your prayers.
Yeah. I've got a couple of follow-up visits with doctors coming in the weeks ahead, and we will see how we continue to progress here, but it looks like what we're doing is moving things in the right direction.
It hasn't worsened. If anything,
No.
You've gotten a little bit of movement back.
A little bit of movement back in my feet,
your
which
toes,
is...
a little bit. So we take that as a major win.
Yeah. Toes still mostly immobile, but I think in large part that's probably as much due to the atrophy of the muscles as it is the nerves. But,
but you're working them.
Yeah, so that is something we'll continue on. And again, this is so much better. I think Gloria wants to go inside too.
Oh. Want to go? Good girl. They're hoping for a meal.
Well, that's coming shortly. Anyway, the standard protocol for what I was originally diagnosed with is powerful steroids and then a monthly infusion of immunoglobulin, which only provides temporary relief.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do now is going to take longer, but we'll hopefully reverse the process on a couple of things that are dialing down the immune response without crippling it.
Exactly, because crippling your immune system makes you vulnerable to anything that comes around. Most patients who are cancer patients, their immune system is just destroyed for a long time. Yeah,
and this is something I saw in my dad going back to 2005 when he was dealing with chronic leukemia, but also rheumatoid arthritis. And the treatments combined had really compromised his immune system to the point where a virus that's benign in almost everybody who's got it, and almost all of us carry it around in us, became fatal. And it was sad to watch. Over the course of 90 days, he just went from living life and, chronic leukemia, as long as it's managed, his doctor said probably wouldn't even affect his lifespan.
Yeah.
But it went from, just 90 days where he was suddenly gone. So I'm not really eager to go down that path. I mean, I'm not afraid of dying. It's just I don't want to speed the process if there are still things I can do that are productive here in this life.
Exactly. When the Lord takes us home, we want to know that it's not because we're useless.
Yeah.
It's because our usefulness has been fulfilled.
Right. When it's time to say, okay, now it's time for you to graduate. Mm-hmm. So, if it means...
Tom Horn
exactly. Chuck Missler and many others. So if it means I have to walk with a cane for the rest of my life, however long that is, okay, I can deal with that. But not really eager to speed the process just so I can get a few weeks of relief from, these symptoms at a time.
We get those sweet parking places, though.
That is true. We get great parking places and getting pushed around through airports.
Getting wheeled around.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know many of you are dealing with stuff.
I could hobble you so that you could get pushed around through airports.
Ooh, now please don't.
Mrs. Mann.
That way I wouldn't be able to keep up with you.
That's true.
We'd have wheelchair races. But many of you I know are going through stuff like this as well. And just understand, you are never alone. You may live by yourself in your home or your apartment, but you are never alone. You are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, and the Lord is there with you. The Holy Spirit is within you if you have accepted Christ as your Savior. So understand, flock, our shepherd never, ever leaves us. And if for whatever reason you get off the path, he'll leave the 99 in the hands of the Holy Spirit or angelic protection, and he'll go find you.
Yeah. And that is really amazing. And that's one of the things that we find that I think so exciting about the Bible is when you realize that the fallen realm is real and that they have worked very, very hard to steal us from his hands. How far he has gone, how hard he has worked, what he was willing to do. I mean, endure on the cross to win us back from the fallen is really remarkable. It just makes that battle that much more personal.
Can I suggest that if you are feeling alone and you're watching this on YouTube, comments. That comments section is there for you guys. It's for you to give us feedback, but more than that, it's so you can create a community. Mm-hmm. If you're on our app, the community is right there. The landing page, the home page, look at the top right, you'll see little conversation bubbles. That's where you click on, and that's where you can go to the various areas. You can call them little forums, you can call them, meeting rooms, whatever you want to. And there's a prayer section.
Yeah.
Look, you are not alone. And so we are body. We are the body of Christ. Let's help one another.
Amen. Amen. To that end, we invite you to join us here in the Ozarks. If you've got the ability to travel, we will be part of the Remnant Rising Conference. All of us from Skywatch TV pretty much will be there. This is August 22nd through 24th of 2025. It's in Springfield, Missouri at the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center. Joe Artis Horn, Donna Howell, Nita Horn will be there. Sharon and me, of course. And
Vicki Joy Anderson.
Many of our friends, Vicki Joy Anderson, Tracy Tennant. She's also here in the Ozarks now, she and her husband.
Kenny C.
Kenny C. will be there. I don't think he's speaking.
No, but he's going to
be there. Yeah. Mondo de la Vega.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
Yep.
If you've never heard his testimony, you need to be there.
Right.
But there's also streaming if you can't make it.
Right, yeah. Streaming video is available. You can sign up for that as well. And when you sign up for in-person attendance at hearthewatchmen.com, use promo code Gilbert. Mike has said it both ways, Gilbert20 and Gilbert House 20.
He emailed us that Gilbert House 20 is what you use. But if one doesn't work, try the other one.
Yeah. And the reason you want to do that is because it saves you $20. So what is normally a $59 registration would be just $39.
And then Mike donates $20. He doesn't keep it. He gives it to our ministry or to Whispering Ponies Ranch. So you can use Skywatch. Is it Skywatch 20?
Yeah.
If you would rather it go to Whispering Ponies Ranch, use that one.
Yeah. So it's really I pray that they cover their costs.
That is
because
true.
They've made it very affordable as far as the registration, and because of the promo codes, they're barely making anything when you use the promo code. But again, it does save you. It also benefits other ministries like us, like Whispering Ponies Ranch. And if you can't be there in person, streaming video is just $49. Now, the promo code only works on the in-person tickets.
Right.
But $49 is through August 22nd, which is the first day of the conference. If you wait until then it goes up to $59. But so you can save $10 on the streaming video by signing up now. Jamie Walden, also one of the most dynamic speakers we've ever seen. He will be speaking there.
On earth.
Yep, and many others there. I mean, Dave Hodges, host of the Common Sense Show. Nathan Reynolds, whom we've not met, but his testimony, spiritual warfare, is remarkable. In fact, some friends of ours, when they found out that Nathan Reynolds was going to be there, were just really excited about going. So, and they're coming from here in the area. So if you're here in the Ozarks, this is an opportunity to drive to a conference instead of having to try to make your way to a major city like Dallas or Oklahoma City or
pay airfare.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you live far away and you are going to fly, there's a shuttle from the airport to this hotel.
Yeah. And if you're willing to drive in, I know Kenny C. is very excited about this because he and his friend Randy are driving in. It's just 10 minutes up the road from the new Buc-ee's, which is a big thing for some folks. But if you've got a few extra days, there are a lot of things to do here in the area. It's just 45 minutes north of Branson, which, of course, is the home of a lot of live music shows. But they've also got a production of David, The Life of David, at the Sight and Sound Theater, and they are wonderful. We're talking Broadway quality productions there in Branson, Missouri.
And very close to Springfield is a little town called Nixa, and they are having an immersive event. It's the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yes, the Beasts of Revelation.
Yeah.
Just down the road in Nixa. So if you want to see the Beasts of Revelation that
same weekend.
It's there. And the best aquarium in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Report, or USA Today survey, the best aquarium in the U.S. And I've been to Shedd Aquarium in Chicago, which is the Wonders of Wildlife Aquarium in Springfield, Missouri, is really fantastic. And guys, if you love to hunt and fish, it's right next door, because it's owned by the same guy, to Bass Pro #1. The original Bass Pro shop is right there.
It's huge.
So go there, and you could take advantage
Spend all day there.
Yeah, buy yourself a bass boat and then go take the kids and go swimming with the sharks. You can actually do that at the Wonders of Wildlife Aquarium.
You can pet the manta rays.
Plenty to do in Springfield, Missouri. It is wonderful. Don't know if the Springfield Cardinals, which is the Cardinals' AA team,
no idea,
are going to be playing that weekend.
They're going to come and watch us, right?
Exactly. So anyway, hearthewatchmen.com. Use promo code Gilbert20 or GilbertHouse20, one or the other. One of them will work.
Or Skywatch20.
Or Skywatch20. Either way, we don't care. Either way, saves you $20. And
that's what matters. And if you'd rather go to those ponies, then use Skywatch.
Absolutely. Tomorrow morning, the Gilbert House Fellowship is back, and a couple of weeks ahead, we're going to have another Iron and Myth discussion. Going to talk to the boys probably next weekend, so it'll probably be the week after that the podcast goes up. But we're going to talk about the Book of Enoch, so that's coming up in just a few weeks.
Oh, yeah. We study, Derek and I study, on Sundays, we study the Book of Enoch the last Sunday of every month. The first Sunday, we celebrate communion.
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow. So until then, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and for Grace and Glory, who are inside in the cool, cool house, we love you. Bye-bye, everybody.
PID Radio is produced by Gilbert House and released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Follow us online, Twitter @PID Radio, or the PID Radio page at Facebook. Join us each week for our online Bible study, the Gilbert House Fellowship, online at gilberthouse.org.